Beginning. Let's go with chapter number 1 of the book. It's called Networking Strategy. Tip number 1, a big old blank line. What is the most important, most critical, most super duper critical thing about effective networking? Who'd care to wager a guess?
Communication.
Communication?
Name. Introduction.
Name, introduction? Nope. Nope. Nope.
Attitude.
Nope.
Smile.
Nope.
Did you care?
Nope.
I'll tell you what, you tell us.
Well, that's why we're in this class.
What you want. What you want. Right? If people know your name and you have a beautiful smile and they are excited to help you, but they don't know how, right? In my 30-second commercial, I was looking for opportunities in international business development. That was my networking strategy. That's what I wanted, right? When you network, you have to be able to pass that over to the people you're speaking with. What do you want? How can they help you? So tip number 1, I'll give you a couple seconds right now to write in what you want from your networking. What do you want from your networking? Anybody care to share?
Referrals.
Referrals, good. For what?
Other business opportunities. Networking opportunities.
Referrals for networking opportunities?
Referrals for business.
Referrals for business? Okay. And what's your name?
Martin.
Marvin. Okay. Does anybody know what type of referrals you give to Marvin? Not yet. That's a good answer. Not yet, right? Nobody said no. I'm glad you said not yet. That's a more positive answer. Excellent. That's what we're going to build upon. All right? We're going to be more and more specific. And part of the way we do more and more specific is, let's move on to tip number 2. You have a networking system. What can I possibly mean by a networking system? Right, there are some key words there. When, where, why, how, who. Okay, when? When can you network?
All the time.
All the time. Beautiful answer. Exactly. Exactly. So you can network all the time. When's the most effective time for you to network?
Where?
When? Because some people, you have to do it in the evening. Or you can only do it on the weekends. Or maybe you do it at a convention once a year, right? So whatever works in your schedule, right? If you have a family, some little ones at home, you may not be able to go to those mixers in the evening. So you need to find different ways, right? So maybe you can do those one-on-one lunches in the middle of the day. Or maybe you could go to an effective networking workshop in the morning, right? Exactly. So that when. Where? Why? How? Let's go to the who, because the who is the most critical. And when I say who is your magic who? Who is your most valuable who? Do each and every one of you know who that is? When you're networking, do you know the most valuable person? What types of persons?
Your key client.
Exactly, right? Exactly. What it does is it links to, you know what? It links to number 1. Okay? That who has to be able to provide you, has to be able to help you. That who, your most valuable who, is that person who is able to help you achieve tip number 1. Tip number 1 is going to come into play in pretty much everything, because we need to be focused. And I'm going to talk about how you need to be quick and you need to be concise. You need to get to the point, because you don't have a lot of time in a networking situation to make a positive, memorable, professional impact, right? So you cannot be ambiguous. You have to know, you have to understand what your tip number 1 is. Is it referrals? Is it sales? Is it research? Is it job development? Are you just networking for friends, right? Because those are all different strategies, right? So it's, hi, my name is Mark. I'd like to help you with your business, right? That's a whole different networking strategy than, hey, baby. Right? I hope you guys see, I hope you realize that, right? So there's all different, I hope you realize that. But there are all different types of effective networking, right? And the key is, you gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you want. So I'll give you a moment to write down who your most valuable who is. has to link back to number one. It has to link back to number one, what you want to achieve in your networking. Some people are really pondering. It's good. It's good. These are exactly the questions you need to grow your business, to better understand your clients and to win sales, be more effective. And if you don't get something today, if you don't hit a home run on one of the answers, that's okay, because that's why we designed this for you to take home with you. So I encourage you to take it home. So with that, let's move on. Let's turn the page. Tip number 3. Have a follow-up system. What can I possibly mean by having a follow-up system?
Well, a way to follow the individual that you met.
Yeah, you need to follow up with the individuals you met with, right? Somehow, some way, people think that networking is an exchange of business cards, and by putting it in your pocket, something will magically happen, right? Pretty much not, right? You need to maintain a relationship with them. You need to keep in contact with them. And your follow-up system could be several different ways. What are some types of follow-up systems? Email, exactly. Alan is going to talk about that exactly. Constant contact is a great vehicle for you to actually stay in touch with your clients. That's what we're going to talk about. Right? Phone calls. Right? Thank you cards.
I was sitting here first.
Wow, this represents a business opportunity. We'll be selling fight tickets to these gentlemen. Boxing on Friday evening at $35. Available on pay-per-view, channel 8, but good tip, good point. So let's move on to chapter number 2, relationship building, right? Relationship building, right? We mentioned contacting, but contacting is just the first step. We didn't start with relationship building because we needed a strategy first. We kind of needed to figure out how to focus our energy. But what's key, what's core, is this whole idea of relationship building. And I start off with tip number 12. Remember, what could possibly be important? What could that answer to remember be in relationship to relationship building?
Names.
Dad remembers people's names. Anybody here good at doing that? Oh, yeah, I'm terrible at that. I would fully agree. You have a strategy for that? Please share it.
When you meet someone, you remember, the way you remember their name. One, you remember their name by repeating it up to 5 times, you'll never forget it.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can do is, when I get a card and I write down 3 key things that, rings a bell or resonates with me, not in front of them, but then when I walk away from it.
That's excellent.
So then when you call them, for example, I say, hey Mark, this is Reggie, we met down at DeVry University. I understand that you have an international degree. Well, I do too. Well, I attended the University of Notre Dame, and the reason why I'm calling you this is because I'd like to schedule an appointment with you to review some options with my business, because I help people protect their legacy with their business. I'm free at 3 o'clock tomorrow. How are you? But that's just an
Hey, Rich, you
example.
want to come up here?
Well, I'm just saying, I try to remember things that I have in common, but at the same time, something impactful, well, it's like that 30 seconds, because I know most of the time, you better say something, how you meet this person, because most people are busy, and they're going to hang up on you. Most business owners don't have time unless you say something that's going to grab their attention.
Exactly.
So that's what I attempt to do regarding the remembering thing, because Mark, I'll never forget who you are, because I did that when I walked in.
That's a good tip. That's a good tip.
I want to
Thank
see
you
my
so
card.
much. For sure.
In the back of my card.
Well, we have a complete connection with family, with our children.
Oh, okay. So it's a whole another.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
we've known each other for 5-6 years,
And thanks for sharing. It's good. Good tip. Any other tips? Anybody else? I'm going to create a situation where it's impossible for you to remember my name. I beg your pardon? I'm going to create a situation where it's impossible to forget my name. What is it?
Mark.
No, how is it impossible to forget my name?
Wearing your name tag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
There you go, bam. How much did this cost? Pretty much zero, right? If you want to be a little more involved, you can spend maybe $20, $30, $40, go to Kinko's, get a little brass thing, right? But right here, if you go, there you go. Great example. Do you remember how much that cost you, Robert?
Yes, I do, because I make name badges. Please don't ever go to Kinko's or any other place besides the Stamp Man.
Yes.
Oh, that's
They'll
good.
make
That's
their name
good.
badge.
Wow, excellent. Wow, I'm glad we rehearsed that.
Great segue.
I don't know how much it was.
The name badge is between $13, $15.
Perfect. Excellent. All right.
This is value
Wow.
sponsors.
See, effective networking. There you go.
That's
right?
the other day degree.
He had his
Won't
hook.
forgive me now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is great. You had the hook, you had your brand, you put it out there, exactly what you wanted, right? The specifics, how other people can be helped by that. That's exactly it, right? So simply, yeah, name badge. That's it, right? That's it. And if there's some way you can make it more memorable, right? I put the LBCC logo on there, write the book. There's nothing confusing about who wrote the book. Mark MIkelat wrote the book. Mark MIkelat's on the side of the book. Mark MIkelat is spoken about on the back of the book. Building Aspirations, the name of my company is right there. On this Effective Networking Companion Guide, we've got the logo on the top. We've got Mark MIkelat on the corner, right? There's nothing ambiguous about that, right? And it's almost subliminal, right? It's just kind of there, right? So that's how you want to do it. That's how you